I think we are ready. So welcome everyone. Thank you for spending part of your Friday morning with us. I am Brittany Yunker and I'm joined by the fabulous Robert. And
Hello.
we are going to take you through corporate gift orders, the feature that we have that helps you out with those. Robert will be taking a look at the Q&As. So instead of putting questions in chat, we would prefer that you put them in the Q&A section so that he can kind of go through and able to manage those better. Any that we're not able to get to or that may need a little more research from us, we will email you back by the end of the day with some sort of answer or update. Please be sure to include your email address if you are in the Q&A because we don't get those with the webinar. So please do put those in there so that we can get back to you by the end of the day. And then that's that. So I think we'll get started. Robert, anything else you can think of before we start here?
I think you've covered it all, Britt. Take it away. I'm ready to answer those questions as they come in.
Okay, awesome. So today we're talking about corporate gift orders, and let's head into our slides here. The things we're going to be talking about today are, first of all, what are corporate gifts? You probably all know what they are, but we're just going to go over it very briefly. We are going to talk about how the corporate gift feature works in Commerce7, and then we're going to head into Commerce7 and create some gift orders so you can see what that looks like. We can talk about best practices and any gotchas that might be associated with that. And so first of all, what is the corporate gift feature? I mean, at its essence, it is the ability to create multiple orders all at once and then only requiring one payment. Now they can pay either with a credit card on file or they can pay with an external payment. A lot of times with these corporate gifts, it's a check. So they can certainly pay by that. And then some examples of common kind of corporate gifting scenarios would be employee gifts for the holidays. Maybe there's a big team win that happened that they want to give something special to the employees that worked on it, or client gifts. And that's where, and when I was at a winery, that was a really big one. We had real estate agents, lawyers, folks that would come back to us year after year to handle their corporate gifts. Because when you do it well and you make it easy for them, then they come back over and over again because you're making their lives easier. So a few things in Commerce7 specifically with our feature is that the way that it works is that it's an uploadable template. So we'll see that in a couple of minutes where we download the example template, you fill it out, and then you upload it, and that creates all of those carts, and then you can go ahead and create those orders. And it includes a lot of stuff, all the basic stuff, of course, like, the SKU or SKUs that you're including, certainly all the information for the recipients. You can also include a gift message, shipping instructions for your fulfillment house. You can include a requested ship date, and then you can also override the shipping service if needed. So if for whatever reason you're sending something that would normally go UPS, but you're like, oh, you know what, I actually want it to go GSO because it's all, in the California Bay Area, that sort of thing. You can go ahead and override that if you need to in the template. Promos are applied if the gifter is eligible for those promos and if the item price field in the template is left blank. And that's cool. You probably, or sometimes you want that to happen, but then there are other times when you're like, oh, you know what, it's 150 gifts. I want to give this person a deal because they're placing all of these orders. You can go ahead and enter a value in there, and then that will override whatever the prevailing price is for that SKU, and no promos will be applied to it. So you can override that if you need to. Likewise, with shipping rates, they calculate automatically based on what you have in the system if it's left blank. But again, you may have a special thing where you're like, whoa, it's all these gifts. I want to do a $10 flat fee or zero maybe. You can put that in there, that value in there, and it will override whatever the automatic shipping price normally would be. Taxes are calculated based on the destination zip code. And if you are hooked up to Ship Compliant, it pulls those rates, you know, based on what you have set up over in Ship Compliant. If you're not hooked up to Ship Compliant, it does pull in the free Ship Compliant rates that we provide. Let's see here. Order and shipment confirmation emails are not sent. And there's a very good reason for that. We do not collect the email address of the recipients because it is the person who's purchasing who is the, you know, they're the owners of these orders. So you can imagine how crazy it would get for the gifter if they have, you know, 200 orders and they're getting all of these emails. Probably not the best experience for them. So they are not sent. The orders live in the gifter's profile. So even if the gifter happens to be giving something to someone who is an existing customer, it's still going to, that order is still going to live under the gifter's profile because they are the ones who placed these orders. And currently this can only be, the corporate gift template can only be used for shipping orders and not for pickup. So these are for orders that are shipping. All right, so now let's head into Commerce7 and we're going to create some corporate gifts. So the very first thing that you want to do, if you haven't done this already, is you'll need to install the extension. And you do that by going to Apps and Extensions, click over to Commerce7 Extensions, and here we see the corporate orders. And you just go ahead and install it. It's one click, it's very simple. And once you do that, when you go over to the store, you will now see in the submenu, corporate orders. So let's head into corporate orders and you'll see a list of all the corporate orders, whether they're pending or complete, because you'll likely have several going on kind of in flight. And so you have like a quick snapshot of what's going on from this screen. And move our beautiful faces so I can see what I'm doing here. Okay, I'm going to add a corporate order. And first thing we're going to do is search for the customer who is paying for, they are the gifter. This is the person who's paying for these orders. So let's see, let's do, what do you think, Robert? Maybe, I'm thinking, who?
I'm thinking Joan Jett, maybe Joan
Really?
Jett sounds like a
All
great
right.
option.
Okay, cool. We're doing Joan Jett. So she's going to send some orders out. The title, this is internal facing only. Back on the screen we were at before where it showed the list of all of the corporate orders in flight. That's what's going to show there. So I'm just going to say Joan Jett's orders. Sales associate, you can assign one if one is applicable there. All right, so down here we have the download sample CSV template, and then we have the upload. So I'm going to download the sample CSV so you can see what that looks like. Let's take a look here. Oh, Robert, can you see my template or no?
I can see your template, yes.
Oh, perfect. Okay, cool. So this is what it looks like when you download the template itself. You'll notice here in row 2 that it has a bunch of sample data. And so you'll want to definitely take a look at that, see how it is formatted, and make yours very similar to it so that you're following the right format. Number one thing, do not touch any of these column headers. They are all, they must stay in this format. Don't add anything to them. If you do, then the upload will fail. So just know, don't touch those. And then the other thing is and because I've done this, after I fill in a bunch of them, I go to upload it and I realize that I had forgotten to delete Andrew's information here, and then it does fail because it doesn't recognize a bunch of stuff in there. But just remember to delete that particular row prior to uploading. All right, so now we're going to take a look at one that I've already filled out so I can talk about some of the gotchas that might happen. And here we go. Robert, can you see my?
I can, yes, I can see your screen still, your order template.
My template. Okay, cool. So here we go. The very first thing to be aware of, and this is probably the biggest gotcha that we come across, is the date format. Depending on how you download, depending on how you download this template, it might be into Excel, it might be into Google Sheets. I mean, it's dependent on the version of those things that you have. It may, you may need to reformat these date fields, and that's for the birth date as well as for the ship date. And that format is very specific, and I'll show it to you in a sec, but it is the 4-digit year, 2-digit month, and 2-digit day. Now you'll see here, sure enough, it's not in the correct format. And if I were to go and upload this, there would be an error that would tell me that. So what I'm going to do first, and what I would suggest you guys do as well, is go ahead and highlight all the dates, then go up to format, go to cells, make sure that date is highlighted, and then choose the proper format. And this is the format you want, the 4, 2, and 2. And you'll want to do that, and you'll see it changes it for both of these columns before you upload. Otherwise, it won't upload. So cells, date, choosing the proper one there, and there we go. So that is that part of it. Robert, would you say that that's one of the biggest stumbling blocks that folks have, is like, it won't upload, and a lot of times it's because the date format?
Absolutely, Brittany. Yeah, definitely the format is very specific to how the template is set up. It has to match, like for the date, it has to be the year dash month dash day. If you do any different format, you will receive an error.
Yep. Okay, so number one. Okay, and then we have, first name, last name. These are, of course, all of the recipients. It's going to be all of their address information, country code, wherever, it might be going someplace else other than, especially with our Canadian friends. And you have your gift message here. You have shipping instructions. These will be passed on to your fulfillment house. We have the ship date, of course, and I just changed that format. The shipping code is here. Shipping, I'm going to go ahead and there we go. Shipping price. This is where I was talking about earlier, that if you leave it blank, it's going to go ahead and apply the shipping that's already in your system. And that is very well what you want to happen. But if you wanted to change it to, say, $10, you can certainly do that too. And that would override, excuse me, that would override what you have in the system. The other thing, let's go over here a little bit. Here is your item quantity. Pardon me. And you can, obviously you put in the quantity that you want to include in each of these gifts. You enter the SKU. And then here I have entered 100 because normally my cab, I think it's like, 125 or something in the system. But because there were so many, I wanted to give this person, I want to give Joan Jett a deal. So I did an override here of $100. Again, if I left this blank, it would just be the prevailing price. And if Joan Jett is eligible for any promotions, those promotions would also apply on these orders. If you have additional, maybe it's a 2-bottle or a 3-bottle gift, you certainly can continue those out here. So again, item quantity 2, you put in your quantity, you put in your SKU, and you put in the price again if you want it to override. Robert, anything else on the template itself before I upload this bad boy?
I think you've covered the majority of it. Anything that I can think of right now is not coming to mind. So I think you're good to go ahead and proceed with an upload.
Okay, great. So I'm going to go ahead and save this guy because I did change those, that format there. So we're going to save. Great. And now let's go back into Commerce7. And here we are, Joan Jett's orders. And now I can upload. So I'm clicking on upload CSV file. Again, it does need to be a CSV. So don't change it to, XLS or XLSX or any, it needs to be a CSV. I'm going to choose corporate order here, going to open. All right, so here it's been chosen. And now I'm going to save the corporate order. If there were any errors, you would see a red error up here, and or if there are any errors with a particular cart being created, you would see that there. For instance, if there was a zip code that doesn't exist because it's a typo, it would error down here and it would tell you why, and you could go and fix it and then re-upload. But in this case, I was very lucky. It's all set up properly. And now we see all of our carts have been created. You have the opportunity to skip here if you would like. If Joan Jett called up and said, oh, wait a minute, I don't want Britney Spears to get the, then you can go ahead and skip it if you would like, and Britney will not be a part of this corporate order. I'm going to unskip because, Britney's had a rough time. She deserves it. I think she deserves a little bit of love there. All righty. So now at this point, you may, your client might, the gifter might say, hey, can I see everything before you charge it? I just want to make sure that everything is right, etc. before you charge it. Under actions, you can export these corporate order shipments, and a lot of wineries do go ahead and just send that over, or you can, edit out, make it smaller if you want, but you could send that over to them and then they're able to just eyeball it before you go ahead and enter that payment. All right, so this is looking good. The carts are created. We're going to go into payment. And here you have the opportunity to either choose a card on file or an external tender, meaning probably a check. That's a lot of times the corporate orders are checks. But in this case, let's go ahead and do the credit card on file. This one's on file. We're going to go ahead and select it. It all looks good. We're going to charge this corporate order, and now it's creating and charging all of those orders. Going back into the shipments tab here, and now we see complete here. So all those orders are now complete. And you will now see these orders over in the orders tab. Here they all are. And now they can, go on their merry way to fulfillment as they normally would. And you'll see here the customer is Joan Jett on all of these. And then the ship tos are here. And then when we go to Joan Jett's world here and we go to orders, you will see all of the orders are in her profile because they're her orders. She's the one who paid for them. That is, I know that was kind of short and sweet, but those are the big parts of it. Anything I'm missing, Robert? Any questions we have that we can address?
Seems pretty good so far. Just want to clarify a question from Kenneth. So he had asked about when we're downloading the template. Britt, isn't the template set as a CSV format? Brittany said, depending on how you download the template, are there different formats of the template? It would only be in a CSV format.
Only CSV. Yeah. Depending on where you download it, it should retain that CSV. Even Google Sheets, whatever it is, it should retain the CSV. But I have seen folks, for whatever reason, if they make changes, for instance, to that date format and then go to save it, they might inadvertently save it to something else. And if that's the case, it will obviously error. So just making sure, you want to make sure that it stays as a CSV.
Perfect. Thanks for clarifying, Britt.
For sure. Any other questions that we
I think
Yeah.
we're okay here. This is an email. No, I think we're doing good. I'm doing the Q&A on my end. That was just the one I just wanted to clarify because that had been discussed during the demo. So perfect.
Okay,
Continue
cool.
along.
Awesome. Well, that is pretty, I mean, it's a pretty simple feature. It's super handy and powerful and awesome. Sometimes it does take a little bit of back and forth with erroring. In other words, the first couple times, you're probably going to see a couple of errors. It may have to do with that date format. It may have to do again with, you know, a bad zip or something. Just go ahead and make any changes and then reattempt the upload. And you'll definitely get it. And certainly if you have any questions, you can reach out to us. I don't know how many of you have taken advantage of it yet, but about 2/3 of our clients are now on chat. So you can, if you don't know this already, if you go to support and you're part of the lucky 2/3 that have been launched already, we have live chat now. And live chat is 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. every Monday through Friday. So feel free to reach out to the team there and we're able to help you, which is super cool. The final third, is my understanding, Robert, correct me if I'm wrong, are going to be getting access on Monday. Is that correct?
That's the tentative plan, correct?
Okay, cool.
So Brittany, we have quite a few questions here in the Q&A, wondering if we could maybe go over some of these live just to see if you have any idea from your testing originally. So one was from Suzanne. Is there a way to tag all of the orders automatically with a corporate gifting tag? This way we can run a query after the gifting is done with a master list of all the gifters and giftees. From the template, I'm not quite sure if that can be accomplished from my understanding.
Not from the template, but we could do it from this page. If you, let's see, well, if we do, could we do it from, hold on, let me move our faces here. Yeah, I don't, yeah, those, not there, but if we go to just the main order page, let's just look around here. Let's see here, fulfilled, so there. Okay, so Robert, what are you thinking, that we would just filter here based on, for instance, paid date?
I would think paid date, correct, right? That way you're able to isolate just those orders from that specific date. And then the channel is inbound as well would be another filter I would think of applying before we bulk tag them.
So let's do this. Sorry, I just keep moving our faces around. Okay, so all right, so we have greater than or equal to today. Actually, that's what we want, right? Because we just created these. And we are in November and we're on the 18th. Today's the 18th, right? Yes. Apply filter. So there's those guys. Oh, I've been testing a lot today, so I have a lot more. And what was your other filter? The channel?
Yeah, the channel to do inbound, but majority might already be inbound. So,
and I suppose fulfillment status too, if you want to do not fulfilled, although it's already bringing those in, it looks like. And then from here, then you could tag those orders with whatever you would like to tag them with. I do love that suggestion though, Robert. That's something we should bring up, because that would be super handy.
Agreed.
I'm going to go ahead and put a note here to bring it up to the product team to be able to tag straight from the corporate order screen, because that would be much quicker and more, well, obviously be quicker and more accurate too, because we may not be able to pick them all up based on these more broad filters. What else, sir?
And so someone's just asking right now, is there a way to send tracking information to the purchaser? Would you mind navigating into one of the orders for me, Brittany?
Yep.
let's take a look. So this order, let's go to more actions. I'm just wondering what our options are here. Of course, as we discussed, it doesn't automatically send the confirmation emails, but you could resend a confirmation email to the purchaser. That would really be the option at this point until there
Yep.
is fulfillment information updated. I'm pretty sure though, actually, I might need to test this and confirm, but I'm pretty sure once the fulfillment is added, that a confirmation email is still sent though for the shipment tracking, if I'm correct, Brittany, or is that?
I don't believe so.
Okay, fair.
Let me look at something real quick here.
Perfect.
Order and shipment confirmations are not sent.
Okay, yeah, so not sent at this time, but you could resend it from the specific order. I mean, that's not, of course, an automatic flow, something we can review further with the product team and see if there's any, options to potentially add this as a feature. Definitely understanding how automated emails could be helpful for these. But again, just really want to reiterate that the gifter is the owner of these orders, which is why nothing is sent to the recipient email at this time. But we can definitely review this further. Jennifer, that was your question here.
Yeah, and I'm putting that in my notes here, and we'll discuss it with the team for sure.
We have a bunch of questions, Britt, so I'm just going to kind of keep going through them if that's okay with you.
Perfect.
Okay, so next one here is from Kenneth. So Marissa from Camus, can you please tell me why on some orders that we upload, they come out with a $0 charge? We had an issue where our customers' orders were pending, and then we were able to process and charge. However, on the customer profile, there is no product and a $0 charge. I'll be very transparent here. I would like to follow up with you, Marissa, directly, just to get a better example of this. I don't know if we'd be able to best assist you during the webinar right now. So I'm going to ask you if you can just provide your email. We'll follow up with you on this one here. So Marissa, yeah, I'm going to ask you, Marissa, if you could just provide your email. We'll follow up with you directly on your questions here about this.
And Marissa, I can't think of a reason why that would happen. Like I can't come up with like, oh, that happens when, like, I don't know why that is. So thank you, Robert. It sounds like it's pretty specific scenario that we can work with Marissa on.
I agree. Next one here is from Tracy. So does C7 have the ability to send a receipt to the customer when the transaction is completed? Last time I did this, it did not. I think we touched on this. So ability to send a receipt to the customer. So what we would typically advise is to, if you don't mind, Brittany, go to corporate orders for me, and we'll pick your test order you just completed.
Okay, that was John Jet. Was that today's? Yes. All
right. Step 2 for shipments. And then if you look at the actions, export, let's see what that export looks like. I'm just curious if we do it. I would like to see how that would appear. So this is typically what we would advise to provide, right? As essentially like
Yep.
I don't want to say it's a receipt specifically. I know it is still an Excel file, but this would be like what you would be able to provide to the gifter, showing the different items, showing the status as complete. I mean, at this point, right, aside from that, you would need to basically print like the 8.5 by 11 receipt per order would be the other option, right? And you can do that in bulk by going to the orders screen. So we'll navigate back to the store orders.
Yep.
Selecting those orders, the specific ones that are the corporate orders on the left-hand side, going through and checking them, and then going into more actions for me.
And then print packing slips.
Or print receipts, whatever you prefer, right? It'll give you it as a PDF file with all of the different invoices for each order. But at this time, those would be the two options that are available.
And then the other option, of course, it takes it outside of Commerce7, but you can also, hop into Microsoft Word or something and create one outside of Commerce7. I know I've done that before. So in a pinch, that's super helpful. And then you can keep it on one page and format it the way that you want it to.
Absolutely. So Olivia said also interested in bulk tracking info or a bulk receipt option. So we went over the options for the bulk receipt. Again, for bulk tracking, we're going to review this internally with the product team, see if there's anything on the internal roadmap to kind of enhance or improve upon this functionality. And we would definitely not specifically have an ETA for any changes, but we definitely hear you all with your feedback on the bulk tracking information. So
for sure.
So next up, does the gifter receive one receipt? Is it possible to send them an itemized receipt? We discussed this one here. So yeah, they won't receive any confirmation emails. This would be something you would need to provide them either in Excel or by going to the bulk actions page and printing those receipts. So can you keep the order on hold until the client approves? Yeah, so by uploading it from step 1, you've created the carts and the shipments until you actually go to step 3 and process the order. It would essentially stay like in a cart status or a pending status until you've actually completed the order by tendering the payment on step 3.
Exactly. And so when you do go to that corporate orders page, so we're on orders, we go to corporate orders, you'll see a listing here of the ones that are complete versus the ones that are pending. The ones that are pending are just that, they have not been tendered yet.
Okay, perfect. So date, year, month, day. So let me just confirm, Brittany, I think we just discussed the date. It is in a year, month, date format with the dash in between each.
Right, so 4-digit year dash 2-digit month dash 2-digit day. And just so you guys know, if you go to the support documents and you just type in corporate or corp, it'll bring up the corporate orders article, and it's very clear about what that date format is, if you need it.
So next question here is from Marissa. Why can't we delete an order during processing mode? So I want to be very transparent. This has come up recently. It is something that our development team is aware of. If you've attempted to process the payment on a corporate order and it doesn't successfully process for whatever the reason is, right? Typically, it could be something like the charge needs to be approved by the cardholder. It does stay in a processing state. At this time, it is something that does need to be cleared on our end. It is something that the development team is aware of. Full transparency, I don't have an update on where we're at with that functionality. Right now, you would need to reach out to support and we can assist you with an order that does get stuck. But at this time, if it is attempted to process and it doesn't successfully tender the order, you cannot delete it until we've essentially like unstuck the order.
Robert, question for you on that.
Yeah, of course.
You know more about it. Would someone be able to, like, if they got stuck, is it not advisable to just create a new one so that they can kind of get on with their day, or is it like, don't do that?
It's something you can definitely do as a workaround, like especially if it's something you need to get to fulfillment, it's a time-sensitive situation. You can create a new order, re-upload it, and charge it again. Bear in mind, right, if it was declined, that's the one thing that we would just want to caution you on, is to make sure if the order does not successfully process that you are reaching out to the cardholder, because it could be something that's being declined on their end. And the issue would be you're going to attempt it a second time and the second order will also get stuck, right? So definitely you could do that. I would still, if you notice that order stuck, the payment doesn't successfully process, reach out to the cardholder, make sure that the charge is approved, still reach out to us at support. Again, it's something that our development team is actively aware of and they're working on a fix for this right now.
Awesome, thanks.
No problem. We have a bunch more questions, Britt, so we're just going to keep working through them here.
That time of year, corporate orders.
Absolutely. So there are times when we get an unknown error. The template format and CSV and fields are completed, but there is an unknown error with no resolution or advisement to fix. Is C7 working to provide insight into errors? So I guess my question here, Kenneth, or if it's Marissa, oh, perfect, Marissa, I see your email. When you're mentioning an unknown error, would this be with regards to processing the payment, or is it in the upload state? Just wanting a little more context there. If you could provide that, that would be really helpful. And I'm just going to scroll down to see if upload stage. Okay. So if you're getting an unknown error, typically, I'm thinking here, right? Because typically the error will provide a little bit of clarity on like if it's the date, if it's the name, if it's those fields. My best advice would be if you're trying to upload an order, you followed the template, you're not having success with uploading it, and you're receiving an error that is unknown, please reach out to our support team. It could potentially be something on the back end. However, we would then be able to review. What we would ask is when you're reaching out to support, provide your Excel file to us. We can take a look, review, and see if there is anything that we're noting from our end. But at this time, there is messaging that does appear with certain errors, but if you're getting an unknown error, of course, reach out to our support team. Live chat is, as Brittany mentioned, now available. So hopefully we can get you some quick clarity on what is causing the error. Perfect. So next up here. At the end of the year, how would I run a report for all corporate orders to send a thank you gift? So
Wow.
I'm thinking here, that's a great question here, Teresa. I feel like the tagging would be a great option. I know we kind of discussed, as a feature request, we're going to review with the product team to see if, adding tags to the orders during the upload stage would be something that could be accomplished. I would think tagging these orders would be the easiest way to do that, because with that tag, you could then create a query, right? Any other thoughts, Brittany, on how you could accomplish that?
The other thing, well, my understanding from that question is that, okay, we want to send a gift to the gifter, right? Because we want to thank them for placing their corporate order with us. Is that what?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to just let me read the question. So we have, at the end of the year, how would I run a report for all corporate orders to send a thank you gift? And I guess, Teresa, yeah, if you could clarify, could you confirm if that would be to the gifter? I presume it would be, but
I presume so. And if so, I mean, honestly, I would go into when I'm creating, I would make part of my process when creating the corporate gifts to tag that customer. Just tag that customer with,
I agree.
hey, corporate gifter 2022, so that then you can go and query at the end of the year. And then you'll have a nice, tidy customer query that will list your corporate gifters.
I completely agree with that answer, Brittany. I think that would be the easiest and most streamlined way to handle that. All right, so next up here, can you upload a CSV file with an incorrect zip code so we can see what the errors will look like when processing?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. And then
Let's do
secondly,
it.
Jennifer's second question is, can we pre-check compliance before final upload charge? So we'll check both of those for you right now, Jennifer, and see what those options look like.
All right, so I'm going to just put in a random bad. Just gonna do 9411. Let's see what happens. I'm gonna save this guy. Ready? And let's go orders. I'm gonna go into one of my pending ones here and go ahead and try to upload it. Refresh my screen real quick here. Yes, reload. Okay, let's see. Whoops, no, I brought it back. All right, let's upload this guy. So this is what happens when the dates are wrong. If you see a big thing like this, it's usually the dates are the main culprit here. So what that means is, because Excel has a tendency to be annoying in this way, it didn't save my format changes on my dates. So first thing I'm going to do is redo that. It's not a C7 thing, it's an Excel thing, and it's annoying. Cells, date. Again, here's the date format. Okay. Date format. And already there. And then we're going to save you. And then we're going to go back into here. Whoops. Reload. Let's try it one more time. We shall see what happens. Upload. All right, so that cleared that up, but here's that validation issue. Zip code, it's wrong. So you need to go into Elton John's, or not into it. You want to go back to the, well, we'll just do it. We have the time. Let's go back to Elton John. And we're going to go ahead and add that one back in there. And we're going to save. And we're going to go back in here. And let's go to, now that's a good question. What I don't know is, would we just go back? Are we able to re-upload just his?
From my understanding,
It wouldn't
no.
be, right?
Correct.
Oh, but we could just re-upload. Okay, so we can get rid of it and
Correct.
re-upload. Okay, got it.
Correct.
Got it, got it, got it. Okay, see, I'm learning stuff today too, you guys. All right. And there we go, completed. So you see there in real time how you kind of have to fix the errors as they come up. And that's how you do it. All right.
We still got some more questions coming in here, Brittany. Just bear with me. I'm just answering a few from my end.
Oh, good.
So we have here from Margot. Last year, I had to create 3 different uploads to split up hundreds of shipments to make it work. Is there a limit on how many orders can be uploaded?
I don't know.
It's a really good question, Margot. Definitely something that I'm going to take off the call. I know that there are some times where when they are larger orders, we do advise splitting them up. I don't know a specific number. So if you could, Margot, could you drop your email in the Q&A and I'll follow up with you, or Brittany will follow up with you once we have a bit more clarity on that.
And I will also put that information into the existing knowledge base article so that
Perfect.
Everyone knows.
Absolutely. Okay, so that's good. And we've had a few questions if it's going to be available for reference, the webinar that we're doing, and it is recorded. It will be on the YouTube channel, Brittany, correct?
It will. So number one, you will be emailed. If you're a part of this, you're emailed the link. And secondly, if you go into support and over to our knowledge base at any time, you can, you can put in FTF or Friday. Whoops, not FTF. How about Friday? There we go, free training Fridays. And you can always grab them there. It will be the one at the very top later today.
Perfect. Just looking here. So just want to kind of see where we're at. Bear with me. So can you upload the CSV file? We did that. Oh, can we pre-check compliance before final upload charge? I didn't have you do that one, Britt. Would you mind going back to the corporate order for a moment?
Yep.
I'm curious from the cart stage. Now, with that being said, in your
So
test,
go into one of the pending.
You got it, Brittany. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go in here. Okay, and click into one of the carts.
Correct. Yep. The one thing I would want to note, Brittany, do you have ship compliant with a full compliance account as the setting in your extension? Just you do. Perfect.
Oh, I'll make sense. Let me go check.
Just because that option, I actually recently learned this as well. So that option's only going to be displayed if you are a full ship compliant account. So let's first, we'll make sure Brittany has that configured in her extension.
Oh, I'm not even added.
Go right ahead and add it, Brittany, just for testing. If you click it, it's pretty quick. We'll just do that. And then scroll down in here for me to the compliance type. Okay. And yeah, perfect. That's perfect.
That's what we want.
Correct.
So set it up.
You got it.
Okay.
Beautiful. Now we'll pop back over to the corporate orders and we'll take a look at those pending shipments.
Got it. Let's take a look at this one. Oh, those are, oh yeah. Okay. And then look into one of them.
You got it. Yeah. And then we'll scroll towards the bottom a little further. So you can pre-check compliance on these carts. So it's still giving you that same functionality, Jennifer, to pre-check compliance. Of course, if you have a paid ship compliant, full compliance account, then you'll be able to do that. Alrighty. Perfect. So Just looking here, Deborah, offer one receipt with total to customer would be beneficial. How do we do this? We've gone over, I guess, the current offerings for how you could accomplish this. Definitely something we can discuss further internally with our team, see if there's any plans to implement like a one catch-all receipt in one of the steps. Right now, you would have to either export the shipments, bulk print the receipts as a PDF, or as Brittany mentioned, kind of do your own internal, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
outside of Commerce7, but I'll tell you what, it's coming up a lot in this webinar, so I can only imagine that it's coming up a lot more with everybody. So that's something that we will absolutely bring to the team to hopefully implement. It'd be great.
I completely agree with you there, Brittany. And I see how valuable that would be in terms of simplifying that process. You're able to provide that one receipt and definitely with the order confirmation emails, seeing what could potentially be done or built. I don't have the technical know-how how that would work with the corporate orders, but we hear you all with those kind of being the big requests here. So
For sure.
definitely. So Teresa, okay, will do. Perfect. So I have my emails here. I don't see any new questions right now. Just going to double check to make sure I didn't miss anything. And we're still here open. I'm going to check the chat to make sure nothing's coming in through the chat as well.
I don't see anything in chat.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, we'll stay on a couple minutes in case anybody has any other questions. And
And I'm just grabbing, Brittany, the questions that we'll follow up on. So that's Teresa. I'm going to have a follow-up for you. And I think I also have a follow-up here for Susan. Nope, Susan, we talked about that. That's good. Perfect. And Marissa as well. Okay.
okay, cool. Well, awesome. Well, I think that's about it then. You guys, thank you so much. I'm glad that it was so well received, that there were a lot of participants today. And certainly any questions you have, reach out to the support team. Definitely take advantage of chat if it is enabled for you. And again, anybody that it's not enabled for, it should be enabled on Monday for you as we roll it out completely. And Robert, thank you for being my wingman today. And everyone have a lovely Friday and a fantastic weekend.
It was a pleasure. Awesome.
All right. Bye.
Bye.